All right, back in the Astrodome, Tommy Hutton along with Ken Singleton for Game 2 of this 4-game set against the Houston Astros. Umpires for the ball game tonight: Joe West will be behind the plate. Veteran Doug Harvey, the crew chief, is at first base. Frank Pulley out at second. Eric Gregg is handling the chores over at third base.
Some teams play better indoors and other teams play better out of doors.
Plus, I think also the Astros have geared their clubs over the years to play in the Astrodome. They've always had some speedy runners, guys who hit the ball in the gaps, make good contact, not necessarily power hitters, and that's why they've had success. But they haven't had recent success in the Astrodome. As Mike Scott, their pitcher, starts to warm up, the Astros have lost 7 in a row in the Dome, so they've had their trouble inside. Mike Scott, a right-hander, will be facing this lineup for the Montreal Expos. Tim Raines on the leadoff spot, Vance Law at second base, Dawson in right field. Dan Dreesen will hit cleanup, play at first base. Hubie Brooks, the shortstop. He leads all shortstops in the National League with RBIs. Tim Wallach at third base. Mitchell Dean Webster from Great Bend, Kansas, is in center field. Mike Fitzgerald, the catcher. Mickey Mahler on the mound. Mike Scott, a good hard thrower with an excellent split finger fastball.
Take a look at Mike Scott. He is penciled in as the 4th starter in this rotation of the Astros, basically with Nolan Ryan and Bob Nepper. He's come along, and Joe Niekro also. He's come along. They're looking for that fourth starter, I should say. They've had pretty good success with the other 3 pitchers, and Mike Scott is penciled in to do the job. He's come up with that split finger fastball that you mentioned, Tommy, and that's the thing that's really helped him out. He's pitched a lot better this season than he has in the past. He's got a winning record this year, 6-4, and he's been doing a fine job in that 4th spot in the rotation.
That's an interesting way that he learned that split finger fastball. He had a disappointing season last year for Houston, 5-11, 468 earned run average, and over the winter, Scott, who resides in the Arizona area, decided he'd go seek out split finger fastball guru Roger Craig, who was no longer pitching coach with the Detroit Tigers, and many of the Tiger pitchers throw that pitch. And he took a trip to San Diego, where Roger Craig lives, spent about a week there, and Roger taught him the pitch. He went to spring training and worked on it, and all of a sudden he's found himself in the rotation and pitching well. 30 years of age, and sometimes pitchers don't reach their peak till they're about that age. Timmy Raines stepping in, leadoff man for the Expos. First pitch of the ball game, there it is. Raines sends it high to left center. Center fielder Kevin Bass. Easy chance, 1 down.
Timmy Raines wasting no time jumping on the first pitch of the ball game. Now Mike Scott is 1 out further into the ball game.
Oh, another interesting thing about Scott, as well as that split finger fastball, he throws his normal fastball in the high 80s, low 90s, so he's a consistent hard thrower. Vance Law, the hitter. Vance with a big base hit in game 1 of this series. There's a strike from Scott, called by home plate umpire Joe West. 6'3", 215 pounds. Foul back. Looked like that one hung a little bit.
Wasn't aware that Mike Scott threw that hard. It seemed to me that he had a medium fastball, I'd say 85 miles an hour, but I found out today he's up in the low 90s at times, and might see him get a few strikeouts.
Tough situation when you're in the low 90s. You're not the hardest thrower on the staff.
By far.
Nolan Ryan gets it up there mid 90s, sometimes high 90s. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Hit well down the left field corner. Vance Law will get extra bases. On into second base, a stand-up double as Vance Law hit an 0-2 pitch right on the nose down into the left field corner. That's Vance's 14th double on the year, and Vance had that big double and an RBI in the 12th inning of game 1 to drive home the go-ahead run. So Vance Law on at second base with 1 down. Andre Dawson will be the hitter.
The Hawk only needs 4 more hits to tie Gary Carter for the all-time Expos lead at 1,365. So he's got a milestone coming up. He's also got a man at second with 1 out.
Scott works, and it's up high, ball 1. 1-0 to the Hawk.
know, when you're inside here at the Astrodome, you get that theater atmosphere. It's not the same as being outside. You feel as though you're watching a movie almost.
About ready to go get some popcorn. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Way inside, it hits Dawson. Andre checking his hand. And the way he's going about that check, it's not too severe, but anytime a player gets hit with a guy who throws in the 90s, you have to worry about it.
Fastball up and in, trying to move Dawson off the plate a little, and he's already been hit once seriously this year, and I'm sure everybody's concerned anytime they come inside. First base coach Ron Hansen, as you see Hawk pointing towards his wrist.
Right on the wrist area by the batting glove. Of course, Andre hit early in the year by Bobby Castillo in Dodger Stadium. Fastball that glanced off his elbow, hit just below his eye, and Andre missed 3 ball games. Dan Dreesen, the hitter, gets the opportunity to drive home some runs.
It looked like that split finger pitch. You saw it tail off just as it reached the plate. Catcher Mark Bailey reaching for it as it headed outside.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Dreesen. A line shot to Doran, and they double up Vance Law at second base. So a line shot by Dan Dreesen. Vance Law took a couple of steps. Once he committed himself, that was it. Bill Doran alertly doubled him off at second base. So that's all for the Expos in the first inning. No runs. They had a base hit. No errors. 1 runner left after a half inning of play in Houston. The Expos nothing. The Astros coming up. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. Back at the Astrodome, Tommy Hutton with Ken Singleton, bringing you this game between the Expos and the Houston Astros. Game 2 of a 4-game set and the beginning of a long road trip for the Expos. They'll play 4 in Houston, then go on to Atlanta for 3 games. And then just before the All-Star break comes upon us, they'll be playing 4 games against the Cincinnati Reds. Mickey Mahler on the mound. He'll be facing this lineup that Bobby Lillis, manager of the Astros, has made out. Bill Doran will be in the leadoff spot. The Astros have 4 switch hitters in the lineup. Doran is one of them. Enos Cabell playing at first base. Phil Garner, the third baseman. Jose Cruz hitting in the cleanup spot. Another switch hitter, Jerry Mumphrey in right field. Kevin Bass, a switch hitter. Mark Bailey, the catcher, a switch hitter. Dickie Thon in the lineup at shortstop. Scott on the mound, as is Mickey Mahler as he begins his warm-up tosses.
Mickey Mahler, in order to be successful tonight, he has to get that slow curveball over the plate. Changes speeds on it. He has a harder curve and a slow curve. He's not really a hard thrower. He doesn't strike out too many, but he's been successful this year by having good control of his pitches. Change up occasionally. The throw goes down to second base, and we're almost ready for action here in the bottom half of the first inning.
Well, Mickey's last start was a 6-2 loss against the Phillies. He went 5 innings, gave up 6 hits, a couple of runs, walked a pair, had 2 strikeouts. And prior to that, Mickey had a little bit of bursitis in his left shoulder. He slept on the shoulder, wrong position. I think everybody that's watching this game has done that one time or another, but if you're not a big league pitcher, it doesn't matter. You usually go to work. But Mickey slept on it the wrong way and missed the start, and then came back into that game against the Phillies. Leadoff man Bill Doran steps in. Fastball just low. That's a strike. Joe West with a late call. See, if Ken or I slept on our shoulder the wrong way, we'd still be right here. Hit high in the air down the right field line. And it lands right on the chalk line. Andre Dawson, who was playing over in right center, had a long way to go and couldn't get at the ball, not hit all that high. So Bill Doran gets himself a break, lands on at second base as he hits one right on the chalk line.
Hawk running to his left towards the line. I watched a poof right there. Looks like one of my golf balls going into a sand trap.
So Houston gets their leadoff man in scoring position with nobody out. Enos Cabell, a player who has good bat control. His job to try to move Doran over to third.
Enos is a very tough man to strike out. He does make contact, and that's the type of hitter you would like to have up in the second position of your lineup.
And he'll either elect to bunt or he'll try to hit the ball to the right side. He can do that.
Might look for Mickey to try and keep the ball in on it, or slow breaking balls to try and get him to pull it.
Foul back on that first pitch, and it was a fastball. Strike one. 0-1 to Cabell.
Mahler, of course, had that start against the San Francisco Giants that we had on TSN earlier in the season.
One-hit shutout.
One-hit shutout of the Giants. And that day he got his curveball over consistently.
He sure did. Mickey called up on May 29th.
You know, through the year he's only given up 24 hits and 34 innings pitched. So he's been difficult to hit this year so far. A little bluff. Nobody was actually covering second, just trying to hold Doran close. Maybe make him shorten up his lead a little bit.
There's that off-speed pitch chopped out in front of the plate. And you called it too. That's a tough pitch. If you're trying to hit the ball for a right-hander to the right side, if you get that off-speed pitch, you're usually out front of it, and it's hard to hit the other way.
You know, just by faking Doran back at second base, it might make him shorten up his lead just a bit, and that might be the difference, him getting thrown out at home plate on a throw from the outfield.
Now, Doran has good speed. He's stolen 15 bases. Now with an 0-2 pitch, let's see what Cabell does. Another slow curveball. Chopper to Brooks, but it did the job. Bill Doran went over to third base, and Enos Cabell, the veteran, got the job done. So even though he didn't hit it to the right side, he hit a chopper that was slow enough, and an alert runner like Doran is was still able to move over to third. A scrappy little Phil Garner will step in. Expo infield playing back, but sometimes they will move in. We've seen that happen many times as the pitcher goes to the plate.
Garner's been very tough in situations just as these. Over the past 7 years, he has driven in, throw to third. Not in time. Close play.
Well, you try them all.
As I was saying about Garner, he's been tough in situations just as these. In the last 7 years, he's driven in 64% of the runners from third base with less than 2 outs.
He's a battler up there.
He's another good contact man. He's not going to strike out too often.
Big curveball up high. Ball one. 1-0 to Garner.
And with Mahler not really being a strikeout type pitcher, the only thing that might keep this run from scoring is a ground ball to third or maybe to first, or a short fly ball.
Fouled off to the right. And the count's even to Phil Garner. 1-1. One away. Bottom of the first inning. No score. Astros have Bill Doran on at third base. Mickey Mahler, the left-hander, on the mound. Mickey, 32 years old. 6'3", 190. Fifth start of the year for the Expos. Just missing inside with that fastball. 2-1.
Garner's hit safely in 6 of his last 9 ball games at a .313 clip. So he's been relatively hot over a little over a week now.
And as you saw, an all-star in both leagues. Once with Oakland, once as a member of the Pirates. Chop foul, strike two. 2-2. Lifetime against the Houston Astros. Mickey Mahler is 1-2. There's a good curveball. Garner chased it, didn't get it. And that's a good pitch by Mickey Mahler. When he starts getting that breaking ball over, he's tough. So a big strikeout for Mahler, and Doran is still at third.
You see it, another slow curveball. This time it is actually out of the strike zone, and Garner chases. He's out of there. Tough man to strike out. Big strikeout for Mickey Mahler. Now there's 2 down and another tough hitter up there.
got that. That's a curveball fouled at the plate. 0-1. Jose Cruz. Yeah, that curveball just kept biting.
Jose, one of the most underrated players, not only internationally, but I think in all of baseball. He's been hitting year in and year out for a long time.
And he's consistent. He's tied with former Astro Bob Watson, who played for quite a few teams, with 782 RBIs as members of the Houston Astros. We'd like to go ahead of Bob with one right here. Doran was bluffing down the line, and wisely, Mickey stepped back off. It looked like the slider on the outside corner. 0-2, so Mickey Mahler ahead of Cruz, 0-2.
Last July, 1984, Cruz hit .443 for the month of July, and that was the highest average for any National League player in any month in the season past. That is smoking.
Outside with that curveball, 1-2. Well, Jose missed about 3 weeks of the season not too long ago. He was out with a dislocated fourth toe, and it doesn't sound that serious, but it created a lot of problems for him running, and he's still not 100% when he's running. Curveball hit well to Dreesen. He tried to backhand it and couldn't come up with it. On into right field. Doran comes in to score, and the Astros take a 1-0 lead. So that's a base hit and an RBI, and that now puts Jose Cruz ahead of Bob Watson as the all-time RBI leader with 783. Jose Cruz getting a nice round of applause from the crowd here at the Houston Astrodome. Now we've seen Dreesen, by the way, make a lot of those backhanded plays, and it looked like the ball just stayed down on him.
He had a shot at it. Looked as though he should have had it. Jerry Mumphrey with his 4 home runs, he's a switch hitter also, but he's hit all 4 of them left-handed. In fact, his last right-handed home run was July 29th, 1983 against Jerry Kuzman. So it's been a while since he's connected for power from the right-hand side. And when he was with the Yankees, that was one of his problems. He didn't get along with Billy Martin. One of the reasons he didn't, because Martin would bench him against left-handed pitching.
That happened earlier in the year here in Houston. He was not playing against left-handers. Tim Wallach with the force at second base on Jose Cruz, and that's all for the Astros in the first inning. But they get a run, a couple of base hits. No errors, 1 runner left. 1 inning has gone by here in the Dome, and the Astros have a 1-0 lead over the Expos. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. In Houston, the Astros have a 1-0 lead as we go to the second inning. Astro defense has Cruz, Bass, and Mumphrey in the outfield. Garner, Thon, Doran, Cabell around the infield. Mike Scott on the mound, and Mark Bailey, big young catcher behind the plate. For the Expos, it'll be Brooks, Wallach, and Webster. And face the 30-year-old right-hander, Mike Scott.
Well, Mike Scott has made 129 starts in the big leagues. In that period of time, he has only completed 6 of those games. So here's a man who usually doesn't finish what he starts, and that's the lowest percentage for any starting pitcher with over 100 starts in the big leagues.
Wow, he started 17 this year and has just 1 complete game. Outside to Hubie, ball 1. Hubie Brooks with a big night in the first game of this series. It's this one up in the air. Center fielder Kevin Bass should have it when it comes down. One away.
What's that old saying? 5 and fly, and was it 6 and no? It's 8 and skate.
Tim Wallach drilled his 5th home run in game 1. A shot to straightaway center field. Tim with 5 home runs. And he's swinging a good bat. Breaking ball is outside, 1-0. Last 63 at bats, Tim's hit right around 350. I like the way Tim gets that bat going. Seems like as a hitter, you have to have something when you're awaiting a pitch to get yourself going, a little movement. You very rarely see a hitter stand up there just still.
It's like a timing mechanism, just to get your hands started, get the bat started. You can always stop it once you get it going, but you got to get it started to hit some of these fastballs.
There he is, a little bit of movement. There it goes. Foul back, 2-2.
In fact, that home run that he hit last night, the dead central, you don't see too many home runs hitting the Astrodome in center field. Ball does not carry well here.
I heard a great pitcher's theory on why the ball carried so well in game 1 of this series. I'll let you have it right after this. Good fastball. That was the 90-mile-an-hour one. And that's a strikeout for Mike Scott. Strikeout number 1.
Take a look at a high fastball, high in the strike zone, and that's the way a lot of the pitchers in the National League like to pitch to Tim Wallach. Like to keep the fastball up above the belt or about at the belt. And that's strike 3. That's where he wants to get it.
And here's Mitch Webster. That theory about the ball carrying so well, Joe Niekro was talking to Joe Niekro before the ball game. Pitch inside to Webster. And he said that because the Astros had been on a road trip, they mess around with the air conditioner in here. So they change it when the team comes back, and usually the first day in, the ball carries well. Now that's a pitcher talk. Call strike to Mitch, 1-1.
It's always something.
Well, he said, put me in, coach, and there he is. It's trying to bunt his way aboard, and he does a good job. It was a tough play for Bill Dorn. His only chance was to barehand it as he tried, and he couldn't come up with it. So that'll be a bunt single for Mitch Webster.
This ball bounces high off the AstroTurf in front of home plate. In fact, it probably hit home plate, bounces over Scott's head. Doran's only play is the barehanded. Webster has excellent speed. Can't make the play. Infield bunt single for Mitch Webster. After 2 home runs last night, goes up there bunting. Had everybody moved back.
I'll tell you, I bet he had some proud parents at the ball game after hitting those 2 home runs. Mike Fitzgerald in there, and Webster's on the move. And so Mitch Webster, after showing us power in game 1, showing some speed here in game 2. And that's an interesting stolen base, because I was just going to say, Ken, that to bunt with 2 outs sometimes isn't that great of an idea unless you can get on and steal second to get yourself in scoring position with 2 down.
And he does just that, and the play isn't even close. Mitch Webster showing some of his abilities.
He's got 2 stolen bases now in 2 tries with the Expos. And Mike Fitzgerald gets an opportunity to bring home a run. 1-1 after that high fastball. 2 outs, top of the second.
Well, we'll see if Fitzgerald gets that opportunity. Mickey Mahler's on deck. Sometimes those 8th place hitters don't get much to hit in situations just like this.
Perils of hitting 8th. Mike hits it well, but Phil Garner, scrap iron, makes a good play to go to his left and throw him out at first base. So good play by Phil Garner on a shot off the bat of Mike Fitzgerald. That ends it in the 2nd inning for the Expos. No runs. They had a base hit, a bunt single by Mitch Webster. No Astro errors, 1 runner left. After an inning and a half, the Houston Astros won, the Montreal Expos nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. The Expo defense has Timmy Raines, Mitch Webster, Andre Dawson in the outfield, Wallach, Brooks, Law, and Dreesen in the infield, Mickey Mahler on the mound, Mike Fitzgerald behind the plate. I'm Tommy Hutton along with Ken Singleton, and we're up here in the booth. Yesterday's scoreboard, Thursday's scoreboard in the National League. Philadelphia winners over Cincinnati, a 3-hitter by Kevin Gross. And the San Francisco Giants defeating Chicago. Chicago had a 3-run lead. St. Louis over Los Angeles. Joaquin Andujar getting his 14th win of the year. San Diego blowing away Pittsburgh in front of just 10,000 people on a holiday in the United States. And look at that New York-Atlanta game. We're going to get into that a little bit more. 16-13, 19 innings. And of course, there's the Expo Houston score. 19 innings in Atlanta. The game was played in 6 hours and 10 minutes. That's the longest ever for a Major League Baseball game. And it was fireworks night in Atlanta. And you know what? They waited until 4 o'clock in the morning when the game was completed, and they shot off the fireworks at 4 a.m. And there were some interesting plays that took place. 2 times, Tom Gorman, left-handed pitcher formerly with the Expos, had 2 out and 2 strikes on hitters to shut the door and win the game. And twice there were home runs hit. Once by a pitcher, Rick Camp hit his first Major League home run, and again by Terry Harper. So it was a wild game in Atlanta. Kevin Bass, the hitter, fouls off the first pitch into the seats. Gary Carter in that game scored the winning run in the 19th inning at 4 o'clock in the morning. There were a couple of rain delays at the onset of the ball game. That one of the reasons it lasted so long. And Carter looked a little, we saw a clip of it, Carter looked a little weary rounding third and scoring, and I guess the reason is because he caught all 19 innings.
I wonder what he feels like today. It's always the day after that really affects you. I'm sure those fireworks woke up a few milkmen.
Oh, good curveball.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Imagine stepping out your door to get ready to go to work and picking up the morning paper and see fireworks going off at the stadium.
There's some fireworks right there.
Bass hits it hard down the left field line. It's fair and it's out of here. A home run for Kevin Bass. A line shot that just snuck over the fence and just made it fair. Third base umpire Eric Gregg giving the call. Kevin Bass picking up his 8th home run of the year. Switch hitting center fielder showing some pop. Lines one over the fence, 330 feet away, right down the left field line.
Ball hit down the line, or down the chalk, as the players like to call it. Say it's the shortest route to paradise.
Mark Bailey will step in, another switch hitter. Of the 4 switch hitters that are in the lineup, Bailey has had the most success from the right side. He pops this one up, and Dreesen makes the play. 1 away. Of course, I'm saying that he has had the best success just after Kevin Bass, a switch hitter. Gets one out of here in a hurry. So the Astros lead it 2-0. A run in the first, and one right here in the second. And Dickie Thon takes a strike on the inside corner. Of course, everyone knows the tough comeback that Dickie Thon is trying to make. He's being platooned now with Craig Reynolds. Thon, a right-handed hitter, Reynolds a left-handed batter, and Dickie just seeing action off lefties.
Here you see him batting in the 8th position tonight in front of the pitcher. When he was going well before the injury, he was batting 3rd in the lineup.
Shallow fly ball to left field. A long way to go for Raines. He's got it. What a catch by Timmy Raines, who had a long way to come. Eric Gregg right on top of Timmy to see that he made the catch and call him out. 2 outs on a great play by Tim Raines.
Didn't appear that Raines got a good jump on this ball, but of course he has the great speed, and you can see the end result. Comes up with a spectacular diving catch.
Now Tim Raines biting the dirt out there, maybe in a place where Earl Campbell has on occasion.
Earl usually took somebody down with him, though.
Mike Scott takes it outside, ball 1. Scott has 4 hits on the year, hitting .138. One of those hits a double. Mahler works. Fouled off in the count, 1-2. 2 away, bottom of the 2nd inning. 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors for Houston. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for the Expos. One-two curveball. That's all for Mike Scott. Strikeout number 2 for Mickey Mahler. But the Houston Astros come up with a run in the 2nd inning. A line drive home run by Kevin Bass, his 8th home run of the year and his 27th RBI. So in the 2nd for Houston, 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. After 2, the Astros 2, and Joaquin doesn't always switch hit. He doesn't always hit left-handed off a right-handed pitcher. He picks his spots.
I wonder why that is. We got to ask him about that.
Well, he feels he has more power right-handed. There's a strike to Mahler. So if he's up there in a situation where he's thinking home run, he goes up there right-handed. Doesn't matter who's pitching.
Well, how come he swings so hard left-handed then?
Well, that's just his nature. Pop back, count evens 2-2. Another switch-hitting pitcher that used to be the answer, still is the answer, but we've given it away now, to a good trivia question. Little chopper to the right side. Abel flips it to Scott, 1 down. The question used to be, who was the last switch hitter to win the MVP? And of course everybody starts thinking of hitters when in fact it was Vida Blue.
Vida Blue.
So now there, we've given you a great trivia question, so go tell all your friends and make a bet, win a little change.
Of course everybody's going to say Mickey Mantle. And you got him. It's Vida Blue. What year was that? Was that 72, I believe, or 70?
71,
yeah.
Maybe 71.
We got Timmy Raines coming to the plate.
Timmy 0 for 1, flied to center in the 1st inning. And Tim's had a lot better success from the left side. We've talked about the Astro switch hitters, and he has some success right here. Line shot to center. Bass over for it, and Raines with excellent speed on into 2nd. So not many guys get a double off a ball hit there, except when you have speed of a Timmy Raines. Timmy now with 10 doubles.
Saw Timmy's speed in the field, and now you saw it on the bases. When he hit first, knew he was headed for 2. Just turned on the gas, so to speak.
Timmy with 10 doubles now, 8 triples. Vance Law 1 for 1, doubled in the 1st inning. Vance now hitting .241.
His average has been on the rise. He's been making a lot better contact lately, especially batting in the number 2 position behind Timmy Raines. Gives him an opportunity to spray the ball around.
And he chases that high pitch. Count evens 1-1. And Vance has a good eye at the plate. He has been hot, as you said. And in his last 22 games, his on-base average is close to 400. Mike Scott, originally with the New York Mets, number 2 pick of the Mets back in June of 1976. couple of looks at Raines. Good fastball, strike 2. So when you have a runner on at second that has the speed of a Tim Raines, Vince Coleman, or Willie McGee, pitcher has to look more than once. You get in a pattern or a routine, you just come set, look once, go to the plate. Pretty soon you'll look back there and the runner will be at third. Now he steps off.
Timmy Raines dancing around a little bit, drawing 2 and 3 looks from Mike Scott. And what Timmy Raines does is divides the pitcher's attention, makes it a little easier on the hitters from time to time. But not this time.
Another high fastball. So Mike Scott came right at Vance Law with some good heat, and Vance chased it. Strikeout number 2 for Scott. Expos playing good baseball. Last year, after 78 games, Montreal was 38 and 40, 2 games under 500. Here in 1985, after 78 games, 45 and 33, 12 games over 500. There's some heat against heat, and it's a strike to Dawson.
You can bet that Andre remembers he got hit by a pitch with a base open his first time up. Hitters have long memories when it comes to being hit by pitches and who did it and when, situations.
Oh, 1 breaking ball way outside. 1-1 to Dawson. Top of the 3rd inning, 2-0 Astros lead the Expos. Here's the 1-1, a high fastball. Dawson hits it off the end of the bat, and it's a bloop base hit into center field. Around third comes Raines. Timmy will score, and Andre Dawson goes on into second base with a bloop double. An RBI for the Hawk. He now has 38 ribbies on the year, and that's Andre's 15th double. So the Expos closing the lead by 1. Astros now lead it 2-1.
Timmy Raines scoring his 31st run in his last 31 ball games, so he's averaged a run a game.
Dan Dreesen looks at a pitch inside. Ball 1. Timmy Raines now has scored 54 runs. Just ahead of Tim, Dale Murphy with 56. Vince Coleman has 55. So a good race going in the run scored department. Call strike on the outside corner. 1-1 to Dreesen. Dan hit the ball well in the 1st inning. A line drive right to the second baseman, Bill Doran. He turned it into a double play. Comes a 1-1 pitch. Ball 2, 2-1 to Dreesen.
You notice how Dreesen is choked up just a bit on the bat. Just about a half an inch from the bottom. Usually power hitters like Dreesen like to drop down right to the very end. Maybe he's going for a little bit more back control. Has picked up a heavier bat, maybe. Choke up just a little.
See if it works. Tried to hold up and he couldn't. Strike 2, 2-2. Tough pitch to lay off. High fastball.
Scott has thrown a number of those.
I think he has the hitters thinking of that split finger fastball that's going to come down into the strike zone. And he's not coming in with it. He's throwing the high fastball. Another high fastball. This one popped up. Phil Garner, Andre Dawson doing a little 2-step. Hawk going around Garner as he makes the catch, and that's it for the Expos in the 3rd. They come up with a run on 2 hits, a couple of doubles, one by Raines, one by Dawson. No Astro errors, 1 runner left after 2.5. Houston 2, Montreal 1. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. The Carling O'Keefe Sports Game Star for the Expos will receive for her the Lady Remington Rechargeable Shaver, and for him the Remington Rechargeable Micro Screen Shaver. The cordless rechargeable shaver that shaves as close as a blade, or you get your money back. So Ken Singleton and myself will be picking an Expo Game Star as this game continues, as we look at Thursday's scoreboard in the American League. Britt Burns shut out Cleveland and Bert Blyleven in Cleveland. Baltimore over Kansas City by 2. California keeps on top in the American League West by defeating Boston by a run. Ron Guidry winning his 9th straight game, 3-2 over Minnesota. Texas 4-1 over Detroit. Seattle 7-1 over Milwaukee, and Oakland nipped the Blue Jays by 1. And that was an interesting third run that Oakland scored. It was driven in by former Blue Jay Dave Collins off Bill Cottle.
2 men involved in that big deal last year.
Dorn, Cabell, and Garner to bat for the Astros, bottom of the 3rd. Mickey Mahler works outside to Dorn. Ball 1. Dorn doubled in the 1st inning, a bloop double. It hit the chalk down the right field line. He swung about 3/4 at that one. Looked like he wanted to hold up, and Vance Law made the play. So sometimes you get a pitch and your head says swing, but your arms say don't.
No.
That's probably one of there's a lot of things in the game of baseball that can frustrate a player, but that would be one of them. To want to hold up on a swing and you can't, and then you hit the ball in fair territory.
You know what used to frustrate me more than anything else in baseball was that 3rd strike when you foul tip it and the catcher holds on to it.
Yeah, you look back.
You look back, hopefully you want to see it on the ground, but it's right in his glove. It was a slow curveball.
And a good one. Strike 1 to Cabell.
Felt like ripping the glove right off the catcher's hand.
Now, talking about that New York Met Atlanta game, Dwight Gooden started. There's a good pitch. Ball strike 2. Gooden started for the Mets, and Mickey Mahler's brother, Rick Mahler, started for Atlanta. But due to the early rain delays, they didn't last that long. And they were long gone before that game was over. 6 hours, 10 minutes. Ended at 4 o'clock in the morning.
You know, some teams have a rule that pitchers, when they leave a ball game, they have to stay at the ballpark until the end of the game.
Just foul, and the count will stay 1-2 to Cabell.
I wonder if that rule applied to Dwight Gooden and Mahler.
I would have to think somewhere around 1 or 2 in the morning that Davey Johnson and Eddie Haas, managers of the Mets and the Braves, would say, fellas, all right, you've had enough. You can go on home.
It's hard to catch a cab that time of night, too. Of course, I wouldn't know.
Good fastball is fouled off. And the count remains 1-2 to Enos Cabell. Enos Cabell's been around as a good, steady veteran, 35 years old.
So with the Tigers for a couple of years.
And he's had some good years with the Houston Astros. He began his career with the Baltimore Orioles. And he was involved in a trade that you were telling me about earlier.
He got traded for Lee May back in the winter of '74. And I remember talking to Mike Torres the day that trade came about, and I said, well, that's going to make the Orioles very tough. You know, getting a power hitter like Lee May. Next day, Mike Torres and myself were on our way to Baltimore.
A shot right up the middle, and Mahler's a little unhappy that he didn't pick it. He's a good fielder, and he thought he should have had that, and after the ball went by him, you could see Mickey Mahler slapping his glove in disgust. He wanted to have that one. Base hit for Cabell.
Another slow curveball. He got Cabell out in the 1st inning on a slow hook, and it just glanced off Mahler's glove on into center field for a base hit.
And you can see the reaction of Mickey. Look at that. Doggone, I should have had that. The Astros now 4 hits. Expos have 4 hits. Houston 2, Expos 1. We're in the bottom of the 3rd. So now Mickey will bear down, try to get Phil Garner. Curveball is low. Good play by Fitzgerald. Even though Cabell is 35 years old, he still runs pretty well.
Stolen 3 out of 4 this year.
It's funny how when you look at some of the picks that teams have and they go on and sign with other ball clubs.
I don't think an 8th round draft pick will get too much money.
Change up, and Garner hits it hard but foul. And that's the thing a pitcher will do every now and then, throw that change up, and he doesn't care if the hitter hits it hard as long as it's foul.
Just a loud strike. Cabell returns to first. The hit and run was on. About ready to mention that Garner with good bat control and Cabell still with pretty good speed. And only 1 down. Good opportunity for the hit and run.
Couple of veterans. Fouled out of play, and the count's 1-2 to Garner.
Phil Garner was with the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1979, the world champion Pirates.
Boy, what do you hear he had that year in the World Series? 500 hitter, 12 hits and 24 at bats.
Don't remind me. Seemed like every time he came up, he ended up at first, second, or third, and then scoring a run.
He had 4 doubles, 5 RBIs. So he had quite a series in 1979.
Hit 500 and didn't get most valuable player in the series.
He hits this one well, the left field. Raines moves over, gets it on the high hop, and makes a good play to get it in a hurry to hold Garner to a long single. Oh, another good play by Tim Raines to field that shot on the high hop and get it back in quickly because Garner was thinking about going to second.
What Tim Raines did on that play, he kept the double play in order with Jose Cruz coming to the plate. A lot of left fielders would have thrown that ball on the third. Garner would have continued on the second. Then you had runners at second and third, 1 out. Still a double play opportunity with Cruz at the plate.
Sliders outside, 1-0. Cruz singled in the first inning, had an RBI, and that RBI put him in the lead as far as Houston Astros are concerned for a career 783 career RBIs as an Astro. Another breaking ball missing. Ball 2. Hey, you talk about 3 veterans coming up in a row. We mentioned Cabell's age, 35. Bill Garner's 36 years old. And Jose Cruz is 37. Pitch, a high fly ball to left field. Tagging at third will be Cabell. Raines makes the catch. The throw to the plate, not in time. Enos Cabell comes on home with the 3rd run for Houston. And moving on to second base, Phil Garner. So heads up base running by Garner to see that the throw was going to the plate. He gets himself into scoring position. And here early in the ball game, the Astros have scored a run an inning. 1 in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 here in the 3rd. They lead 3-1.
The throw came all the way home, and it went over the cutoff man, Tim Wallach. Garner with the heads-up base run and tagging and moving on to second, getting into scoring position. From an outfielder's standpoint, you like to keep the throw cuttable. You can't get the man at the plate. You do not want the man from first advancing.
Well, what you try to do if you want to make that hard throw, at least keep it about head high. That way the runner has to hold his ground. Another good fastball, 0-2 to Jerry Mumphrey. Houston with 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors. The Expos have a run on 4 hits and no errors. 0-2 pitch to Mumphrey, a high fastball. He chased it, didn't get it. Strike 3. Strikeout number 3 for Mickey. And that's all for the Astros in the 3rd inning. They get a run on 2 base hits. There were no Expo errors and 1 runner left on base. After 3 complete innings in the Astrodome, the Houston Astros lead the Expos 3-1. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. And now let's go to TSN Control for this sports break with Michael Landsberg.
That was
Well, we go to the 4th inning with the Astros leading the Expos 3-1 in indoor baseball. Houston Astrodome. This telecast is protected by copyright and is intended solely for the non-commercial entertainment of our viewing audience. Any use, reproduction, or distribution in whole or in part of the pictures or descriptions herein contained without the express written consent of the Montreal Expos and the Sports Network is strictly prohibited. Coming up for the Expos, Brooks, Wallach, and Webster. Hubie is 0 for 1 in the ball game. Fly to center field his first time up. Scott delivers, and it was a good split finger fastball. Strike 1. I was talking with Houston's pitching coach, Jerry Walker, and he was saying Scott has really come of age. He pitched his last ball game. It was against the Giants, and he said he really didn't have his good stuff, but he still managed to get the win. As Brooks gives Phil Garner an opportunity to make the play, and it's 1 down. And I think that's really a key for a pitcher to have some success, is when he doesn't have his good stuff, to go out there and still manage to win the ball game.
might be a sign of maturing on his part as a pitcher, being able to know his own abilities that particular evening.
Wallach takes low, ball 1. He had a nightmarish year last year. Got off to a fair start. He was 4-4 in the middle of June. Then he was 1-7 from that point on.
Good split finger fastball right there.
See the bottom just kind of fall out. And it's a great pitch for pitchers who do master it. Doesn't give them any arm trouble, not like a slider. 1-2 to Wallach.
Well, last year the Astros top 3, as we mentioned, Nolan Ryan, Joe Niekro, and Bob Nepper. Only one staff in the National League had a better top 3, and that was the champion San Diego Padres in terms of total victories. Those 3 pitchers had 43 wins, and they're on a pace that would put them ahead of that. The problem with the Astros was that 4th and 5th starter, and this year, if Mike Scott can turn it around, well, the Astros are only playing .500 ball. They've had a history of playing better in the second half of the season.
They sure have. Had some problems in the bullpen this year, which they thought was going to be one of their strong points. 2-2 to Wallach, 1 away. Top of the 4th inning. 3-1 Houston lead. Bill Dawley and Frank DiPino, who the Astros and Bob Lillis were depending quite a bit on, have really not thrown well this year. They've struggled. Just outside, ball 3, 3-2 to Wallach.
About the only one who has thrown well is Dave Smith, and he's probably been their top reliever the last couple of years. But this year in particular, he has really outshone the others in the bullpen.
Foul back, and there's that high fastball again. It gets you thinking as a hitter. See the pitch coming, And your first reaction, is it going to be one of the split finger fastballs? It's going to drop into the strike zone, or is it going to be a straight fastball and stay up there? So that's why we've seen a lot of hitters swinging at that high fastball that's been out of the strike zone. That one's in the strike zone, and Wallach hits it well to center field. Back for it is Bass. No chance. Home run number 6 for Wallach. Dead center field. It was a rope. So Tim Wallach has been challenging the Astrodome. A home run to center field in game 1 of this series. A little bit left of that one. And this time right up the middle, right over the 400-foot marker.
Watch the arm extension on this swing by Tim Wallach. Ball is almost down the middle. That's where your strength comes from. Wallach, a good low fastball hitter. That ball was just below the belt. It's not easy to hit home runs to center field here, and he's done it 2 nights in a row.
I'll tell you what that's doing for Tim Wallach. It's giving him so much confidence, not only to hit the home run, but to prove to himself that he doesn't have to pull the ball. 1-0 to Webster.
You don't see many home runs at center field here. That probably would have made it with the old fence out in center.
Ball 2 to Mitch. Mitch had a bunt single in the second inning, stole second. He's 1 for 1. There's a line shot over the head of Cabell. This will be extra bases. Humphrey plays it well off the wall down the right field line, and Webster goes on into second base. He's 2 for 2. So Mitch Webster with talent from the right side and the left side. Both hits tonight left-handed.
He is ready to play tonight.
Put me in, coach.
Had a little discussion on the mound. Enos Cabell, Mark Bailey, and Mike Scott going over strategy.
Well, Scott has given up some base hits. He's had a hit to innings pitch ratio of good statistics this year. He's pitched over 100 innings with 87 hits, but tonight into the 4th inning he's given up 6 hits already. So the Expos are seeing his pitches well and swinging the bats. Mike Fitzgerald is 0 for 1, but he hit the ball hard in the second inning. A good play by third baseman Phil Garner to turn it into an out. Call strike to Fitzgerald.
We have mentioned that Scott rarely finishes what he starts, and maybe this is the time of game he begins to tire.
Good fastball. Swing and a miss. 0-2 to Fitzgerald. 1 down. Mitch Webster on at second base. Houston has a 3-2 lead.
Fitzgerald asking Joe West to check the ball. Crowd reacts a little bit to that.
There were some players earlier in the season when Scott was throwing that good split finger fastball that questioned whether it was a split finger fastball. They thought he might have been putting some kind of a foreign substance on the baseball.
Well, actually, when he reaches into the glove, especially from this stretch here, might be able to see his fingers splitting. Takes his grip.
Mike chasing a high heater. That's all for Fitzgerald. Strikeout number 3 for Mike Scott. Mike Scott does throw a couple of speeds of his split finger pitch. If he spreads the fingers wider apart, the pitch is a little slower. Then it's almost like a forkball. With the fingers a little bit closer together, he can get more heat on it and throw it a little harder.
Well, that pitch was just a regular fastball right there. It was out of strike zone.
Strike call to Mickey Mahler.
There's a chance for Mickey to help himself. He's got the tying run down at second base. Base hit might deliver the speedy Mitch Webster.
See what Mickey can do. He wanted that high fastball too. So again, a number of Expo hitters chasing that high fastball out of the strike zone.
Well, sometimes you see that pitch very well. It's right in your eyes. Maybe you might be guessing fastball and you just go for it. It takes a little discipline to lay off a pitch like that.
0-2 fastball again out of the strike zone. Swung on and missed, and that's strikeout number 4 for Mike Skyler. And unhappy, Mickey Mahler heads back to the dugout. So Mickey not pleased with his batting swing, as he'll go back and get ready to pitch. And the Astros hit in the bottom of the inning. In the 4th inning for the Expos, they get a run on 2 hits. Big one, a home run by Tim Wallach to straightaway center field. No Houston errors, and 1 runner was left on base. After 3.5, the Astros 3, the Expos 2. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. And we're back looking at the standings in the National League East. The Cardinals on top by a 1.5 games. Expos staying right there. New York Mets 4.5 out. Chicago is 5 off the pace. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh bringing up the rear. In the West, San Diego continues to play good baseball, good steady ball out in the West. They're 5 ahead of Los Angeles. Cincinnati 3 games over 500. Houston right at 500. And Atlanta and San Francisco. Now Kevin Bass, who is leading off the 4th inning. Bass is 1 for 1, homered in the 2nd inning, his 8th of the year. And the Astros have been hitting more home runs as of late.
Well, last year they only hit, look at that stat, only 18 home runs at home, 61 on the road. This year with Kevin Bass homering, that was their 21st already this year, so they've surpassed last year's total.
Of course, a lot of that due to the fact that fences have been moved in 10 feet here in the Dome, and that makes it a fairer ballpark to hit. Of course, look, we're talking about that because we were not pitchers. Pitchers would rather have it moved out 20 feet.
Fences moved back, and probably the mound moved a little closer to home plate too.
I read a great thing the other day from left-handed pitcher with the Seattle Mariners, Ed Vandenberg. Bass trying to make it 2 for 2, and he does, deep into the seats. Kevin Bass has been up twice. He's hit 2 home runs. Home run number 9 for Bass. The Astros lead it 4-2. Switch inning center fielder showing some power from the right side. Kevin Bass has been up there twice. He's gone deep twice, and it doesn't matter how far away those fences had been pulled in or pulled back. That one would have been out of here, into the seats.
Well, Bass has hit 9 home runs now, and 6 of them right-handed. He's only hit 3 left-handed.
Mark Bailey takes a called strike. Bailey's been doing a fine job. The switch hitter. He was voted the Astros Player of the Month for the month of June. I'd say he had a pretty strong month. He hit 400, had 5 home runs, 12 RBIs. Kind of an interesting situation with the 2 catchers that Bob Lillis has, Mark Bailey and Alan Ashby. Both switch hitters, and he uses them kind of in a platoon situation, but it doesn't matter left or right because they both are switch hitters. Outside to Bailey, 3-1. One time that Ashby does catch, they've been calling him Mashby with, of course, Mark and Ashby. There's the stats. They've been doing a good job. Ball 4 to Bailey. That's the first walk for Mickey Mahler. And those stats, by the way, between Ashby and Bailey are better in just about every category than any other catcher in the National League. If you compare them with a Tony Pena or a Gary Carter Terry Kennedy. Larry Bernarth now heads to the mound to talk to Mickey Mahler as Dickie Thon begins to step in. Larry Bernarth, pitching coach with the Expos. Mike Fitzgerald joins the conversation. The Astros lead it 4-2 as there is now action in the Expo bullpen. Right-hander Randy St. Clair. I was going to say the one thing about Alan Ashby, he gets to catch, and I'm sure he's thrilled about it, he gets to catch Joe Niekro all the time. He handles him a little bit better. Outside the Thon.
Left-handed home run by Kevin Bass. Mickey Mahler's had trouble finding the strike zone.
Bailey has no stolen bases, so he won't be going anywhere unless a hit and run might be on. Thon swinging and hits a high fly ball to right field. Andre Dawson with the catch, one away. And that'll bring up the pitcher, Mike Scott.
Expo infield. Tim Wallach is in at third. I'm sure Dan Dreesen will be charging. Even one down, this could be a bunt situation. You see Wallach creeping in at third base. Throw to first.
Something a lot of pitchers like to do when there's a possible bunt situation. They'll throw over to first, and then you can get an idea if the hitter is bunting, because sometimes they square around as the pitcher makes the move. There's the bunt. And the play by Dreesen over to Law. So a good sacrifice bunt by Mike Scott. Moving Mark Bailey on to second base. And the Astro pitchers have been holding their own as far as hitting's concerned and sacrifice bunts. Pitchers for the Astros last 7 games have been hitting at a .350 clip. They've also been dropping down a lot of good sacrifice bunts. So you get those little things done, you're going to win some ball games. Bill Doran takes a curveball. It's a strike. 0-1. Doran 1 for 2.
Doran hitting .271 overall coming into tonight's game, but hitting .302 left-handed, only .219 from the right side. So he hasn't been carrying his weight on the right-hand side of the plate so far this year.
He's been a bit of a surprise with the power. 7 home runs. He had 8 in 1983, so that's a career high for him. He should pass that. He had just 4 last year.
Do you think this goes back to bringing the fences in? Even the little guys are.
It's going to help everybody. There's a runner on at second base, Mark Bailey. Tell he's a catcher. Look at that size. Bill Doran, one of the reasons the Astros felt they could trade away Johnny Ray. Tim Wallach back to handle that pop fly and has to contend with the mound down in the bullpen. That's a tough play. So Tim handled it, made the play and the catch. That's all for the Houston Astros in the 4th inning. A run on 1 hit, a home run by Kevin Bass. He's hit 2 in the ball game. No errors, 1 left. After 4, Houston 4 and the Expos 2. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. Tommy Hutt and Ken Singleton in Houston, checking the American League East standings. Toronto Blue Jays 2.5 ahead of Detroit. New York, Baltimore trying to hang in there. Boston 7.5 out, and Milwaukee and Cleveland. Out in the West in the American League, California Angels still hold a 3-game advantage. Oakland has started to play excellent. They've come a long way. They're 3 out. Kansas City, Seattle is playing well. They're a game over 500. Followed by Chicago, Minnesota, and Texas. So the White Sox heading in one direction and the Oakland A's heading in the other. Well, on July 7th, there'll be a baseball doubleheader. The Blue Jays against the Oakland A's, 4 o'clock Eastern time. And the Montreal Expos against the Houston Astros right here in Houston, 7 o'clock Eastern time. So the Expos Astros game will follow immediately after the Toronto game. And there's a good shot of how you can see where those fences were brought in.
The old fence with the, I guess that's an orange line across. You had to hit the ball over the orange line for it to be a home run. Now, those fences moved in approximately 10 feet all the way around. Makes it a lot easier to hit home runs this year.
You know, I wonder if it's a psychological thing, though, because so far, all the home runs hit in this series would have been home runs regardless of if the fence had been moved in or not. They've all cleared that. Good split finger fastball. Strike one to Timmy Raines. Timmy's 1 for 2. Doubled in the third, flied out in the first.
Well, it could be psychological. I know as a hitter, you would like to see the fences as close as possible. So even with them moving them in, you're going to get the feeling that you can go deep a lot easier. 2 split finger fastballs in a row.
And a couple of good ones. Strike 2 to Raines.
Mike Scott thinking over this 0-2 pitch. Will he waste one or will he come right at Tim Raines?
He didn't waste a thing. He went right at Timmy Raines, struck him out on 3 pitches. Strikeout number 4 for Scott. Well, let's regroup. Strikeout number 5. Don't get the opportunity to keep score inside very often. Vance Law, the hitter, he takes outside, ball 1. Vance has a double in the ball game and was a strikeout victim in the 3rd inning. One 0 pitch hit well up the middle, but Bill Dorn moves over and he's got it. 2 up, 2 down in the 5th.
That ball might have hit the side of the mound, slowed it up on its way towards center field. Doran was able to get over and make the play. The Expos have left a man on base in each inning. Had some opportunities. Haven't been able to cash in against Mike Scott.
It's one of those situations where you're on the bench and you have to keep saying, keep him out there. Sooner or later, we're going to get him. Keep the game close. But if he starts throwing that good pitch, the split finger fastball, consistently, he'll get tougher.
Tommy, we've seen that pitch more and more in the major leagues, not only in the National League, but in the American League. And I think it's an arm saver. That's why you're seeing a lot of pitchers throw it. It's not as difficult to throw as a slider. Slider gives you basically a lot of elbow problems from that twisting motion when you release the ball. You don't have that when you throw the split finger.
Chopper for Dorn. He's got it. It's a 3 up, 3 down inning for the Expos in the 5th. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left after 4 1/2. The Houston Astros lead the Expos 4-2. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. In Houston, the Astros have a 4-2 lead over the Expos. That's 0 in the top of the 5th, by the way. The first 3 up, 3 down inning for either pitcher, Mickey Mahler and Mike Scott. And the crowd getting into things here in Houston. Next Expos Group Special night will take place on Thursday, July 18th. The Expos will be playing host to the same Houston Ball Club. A 7:05 start. All groups of 30 or more can purchase tickets for that July 18th game at just half the regular price for all levels. That's more fun in groups at Olympic Stadium. So come see the Expos in action on Expos Group Special Night, July 18th, against the Houston Astros. It's no fun going to a ball game by yourself. Houston will be sending up Cabell, Garner, and Cruz. Enos Cabell has a base hit in 2 trips. 35-year-old veteran. Says he went to the Will Rogers School of Hitting. Never met a pitch I didn't like. He likes to hack.
278 career hitter in the big leagues.
Change-ups outside, ball 1.
Baltimore, Houston, San Francisco, Detroit, and back with Houston again.
In outside, 2-0 to Enos Cabell.
Hit 311, 1983 with the Tigers, then came back to Houston last year and hit 310.
Mickey Mahler working, and the 2-0 pitch. Again outside, so Mickey's been outside with the first 3 pitches to Cabell. Mickey 1-2 this year with a 2.38 earned run average. And before his recall from Indianapolis, Mickey was 4-1 down in the American Association. Ball strike, 3-1.
Cabell and Larry Herndon. Larry Herndon of the Detroit Tigers, left fielder. Good friends, and they felt that Herndon started to slump when Cabell got traded over to Houston, or left as a free agent. Excuse me. Became a free agent, left the Tigers, signed on with Houston. They felt that's one of the reasons why Herndon hasn't played that well the last couple of years. Cabell is gone, his best friend.
Cabell had a heck of a rip at that pitch, hit it off the end of the bat, and caught a bit of Joe West's mask. He must be all right. He's laughing it off. Let's check it out. Watch the backswing. Boom. Well, you got to be tough to be a National League umpire.
A glancing right-hand smash from Larry Holmes.
Hey, Joe West has 2 careers, by the way. 3-2 pitch is foul down the right field line. Giving chase is Dawson, and it just goes out of play. Count stays 3-2. In the offseason, Joe West is a country western singer. Appears in many different nightclubs around
Houston, I bet.
He's been in Houston. He's appeared in Las Vegas. He's even cut an album. So Joe West has a couple of different careers going for him. National League umpire and country western singer.
Maybe we can get him to sing a song for us between innings.
Brooks has this one, and throws a little bit low, but Dreesen's right there to scoop it up. 1 down. Speaking of country western singers, Expos play Houston Saturday night. We'll have the game for you Sunday. On Saturday after the ball game here in the Astrodome, right after the game, the famous country rock group Alabama will be performing. 0-1 to Garner. Bill Garner's 1 for 2. Struck out in the first inning, singled in the third. Astros have been playing right at their 500 record. They're 39-39. And they've been playing at that against left-handers too. 15-15 against southpaws. Chained up, fouled off, 1-2. Did it look like Mahler might have given that changeup away?
Sometimes when you slow up, you come around with your motion, the hitter might look for the arm motion slowing down, and that's a dead giveaway. You see something a little bit different in his motion, and usually that will tell you that's an off-speed pitch. Means you might lean back a little further and wait.
Like a guy like Mario Soto is so successful, even though he has just lost 5 in a row. But he has that good motion and the excellent changeup. Good curveball there, but it's low and in the dirt. Ball 2. 2-2 to Garner.
The whole idea of pitching is to keep hitters off balance. you can throw various pitches with the same motion, change speeds on all of them. Make it very tough to hit.
So I guess it's safe to say you were more on balance than I was. Slider by Mahler, trying to get that one down and in, see if Garner would chase it. He laid off, and the count's 3-2. One down, bottom of the 5th inning. Astros 4, the Expos 2. 6 hits for each club. And another chance for UB Brooks. And one thing about Phil Garner, I don't care if he's 25 or 35 or 36 years old, he gets down that line with everything he's got. And he still runs well. Jose Cruz steps in. Jose 1 for 1. 2 RBIs, had a sacrifice fly in the 3rd. So Jose with a .312 batting average. 4th in the league. Swinging at the first pitch, hits it off the end of the bat, but gets it on into center field. A broken bat single for Cheo Cruz. And folks, they're not booing. That's the way they acknowledge Jose Cruz here in Houston.
Well, the Astros haven't really bombed Mickey Mahler. They've been quite consistent. They spaced their 4 runs about as well as you can. They scored 1 in each inning so far.
Speaking of Jose, 4th in the National League in hitting. Willie McGee on top, hitting .352. Tommy Herr, a couple of teammates battling out. Herr batting .341. Tony Gwynn hitting .311. Curveball, a swing and a miss, strike 1. Humphrey 0 for 2. Hit into a fielder's choice and struck out. High and outside on a fastball, 1-1 to Mumphrey. Cruz now has 5 hits in the 2 games so far. And after that toe injury, he's just starting to come around and swing the bat like he's capable of doing. Mumphrey capable, but he fouls that inside fastball off, and not a good swing. He was thinking outside, and Mickey Mahler got a good fastball on the inside part of the plate.
Mumphrey with a pretty good average, career average of .288. Started out with St. Louis, went over to San Diego, then over to the Yankees, and now on with Houston.
Curveball, and the count stays 1-2 to Jerry Mumphrey.
Nice play by a fan. Sugar Land, Texas.
Well, like you said, you have those nice cushioned seats here indoors.
You do get the feeling that you're at the movies or theater or a concert. It's always stranger at Dome Stadium. It doesn't really feel like baseball to me in a way. To get up there and try and hit a fastball is like baseball.
Get foul back. You know, I think someday though that we may see more indoor baseball.
I would like to see, if they're going to build some more stadiums with roofs, I'd like to see them retractable. I think that certain places like Houston, you do need a dome. The fact that it is so hot and humid here, I think people come to the ball game for relief. Places like Minnesota, as we see strike out.
Good slow curveball by Mickey Mahler to strike out Jerry Mumphrey.
We'll
He's
get back
gone down.
to this.
All right, he's gone down 2 times. That's strikeout number 4 for Mahler. That's all for the Astros in the 5th inning. No runs, a base hit, no errors, 1 runner left. After 5 in Houston, in the Dome, the Astros lead the Expos 4-2. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. And now let's go to this TSN Sports Break with Michael Landsberg.
Wanted to come back to that and talk a little about certain places you do need a dome. And
all right, good, yeah.
But what might hold people down in places like Seattle and Minnesota, when they get a nice day, they don't want to come inside.
That's why the retractable dome is
better. Good old boys.
Tommy Hutt and Ken Singleton in Houston as some Houston Cowboys look on. They may be going to the Calgary Stampede. If they're not, they can catch the action on TSN July 6th, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, and July 7th, 3 o'clock Eastern Time, the Calgary Stampede. So a lot of Cowboys here from Houston may be heading north.
Tommy, we were talking about the dome here in Houston, people coming here for relief. It's so hot and humid outside most of the summer. Places like Seattle and Minnesota, I think that fans, maybe the reason why they're having problems with attendance, especially in Seattle, when they get nice days, they don't want to go inside to see a ball game. You do need it, of course, because of the overall weather picture. Strike 1 to Dan Dreesen. But I really feel if you're going to build a dome stadium, you should make it retractable. So when you do have the nice days in the northern cities, ground ball foul, strike 2. When you do have the nice days in the northern cities, that you can be able to see a ball game out of doors. So, you know.
That's one of the reasons the dome that is expected, hopefully, in 1987 in Montreal, will be a retractable dome, because the same situation prevails in Montreal on a nice day in the summer. The fans in Montreal hate to be cooped up inside should there be a dome, so they'd like to have that retractable dome and still enjoy the sunshine when it is out. So I think with all the experimentation there has been with domes, sooner or later as the years go by, there'll be a perfect retractable dome that can be constructed for just a few $1 billion. Of course, then there's people who will say keep it outside and keep it on grass.
In the date, ooh,
way inside, and hits Dreesen. Oh, Scott trying to come inside. He was ahead 1-2. Tried to chase Dreesen back off the plate, and he hits his second batter of the ball game. Scott hit Andre Dawson in the 1st inning.
Looks like it hits Danny just above the elbow on the right arm. Pitch above 90 miles an hour, and well, he's going to feel that tomorrow.
Well, you can only hope when it does hit you there that it is above the elbow. Hits you on the elbow, then you might be in trouble.
Well, that'll bring a tying run to the plate. Expos get the leadoff man on. Tying run in the person of Hubie Brooks.
Now he comes back with that split finger fastball, and it's out of the strike zone. 1-0 to Hubie as action now begins down in the Expo bullpen.
Case of a big inning, we might come to the pitcher's spot in the lineup.
Ball strike, 1-1 to Hubie Brooks. Hubie batting .269. And of course those 41 RBIs lead the shortstops in the NL. Jam shot right up the middle. Vaughn with an easy play on the bag and turns a double play. So Hubie Brooks would like to have that swing back. He got jammed on a good pitch from Mike Scott. Hit it right up the middle. Thon had time to get over and field it, step right on the bag, and turn it into 2.
Hubie started his swing, and a split finger pitch just ran right in on him. Tailor-made for Dickie Thon over the Enos Cabell, and that's the pitcher's best friend, the old double play. Bring up Tim Wallach.
Tim Wallach up there after hitting that shot to center field his last time at bat, takes a strike from Scott. 0-1.
I guess if the double play is the pitcher's best friend, a home run is his mortal enemy.
Foul down in the Expo bullpen. And Scott's ahead of Wallach 0-2. There's a shot of Floyd Yeomans, who had started to heat up in hopes of the Expos getting down to that pitcher spot. With the double play, he's cooled down just a bit.
Yeomans and bullpen coach Joe Kerrigan.
And Floyd Yeomans did quite a job in his first major league appearance. Got the call from the Expos, said, Floyd, we're going to bring you up to AAA, but on the way, we'd like you to stop by Montreal and pitch against the first place St. Louis Cardinals. And he did a heck of a job, Floyd Yeomans. Yo, as they call him. Yo worked 6 2/3 innings in that game against the Cardinals. Gave up 6 hits, had 5 strikeouts, and was clocked in the 90-mile-an-hour range consistently. Wallach pops this one up. Enos Cabell, one-handed grab. That's it for the Expos in the 6th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. 5.5 innings here in Houston have been played, and the Astros lead the Expos 4-2. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. Carly O'Keefe Sports Game Star for the Astros receives a beautiful Bulova Quartz watch. Be sure to see the new Bulova Quartz Thin, Quartz Accurate Diamond Set watches. Your Bulova Jewelers is featuring Bulova Diamond Set Time Precise in a wide selection of styles at very affordable prices. And remember, every Bulova is backed by a 2-year guarantee. See your Bulova Jewelers soon.
It's like a nice watch, doesn't it, Tom?
Sure does. Wish I had one like that.
It looks a lot nicer than the one you got now.
All right, on Sunday, July 21st, the Expos invite you to Camera Day at Olympic Stadium for the scheduled 1:35 game between the Expos and the St. Louis Cardinals. You'll be invited onto the field to take pictures of your favorite Expo players. Photo taking sessions will be held from 12:15 to 12:45. So come to Expos Camera Day on July 21st and return home with the Expos on film. This promotion is being sponsored by the Journal de Montreal and the Montreal Expos. So it's always fun to get down on the field if you don't get that opportunity very often. Bring your camera and get a couple of close-up shots of your favorite players. Kevin Bass gets a tremendous round of applause as he steps in. Bass with 2 home runs in the ball game. That's the first time in his career that he's hit 2 home runs in a game. That's the first time an Astro hitter this year has gone deep twice. Mahler goes right at him with a fastball. He fouls it back. And a good curveball in there. Ball strike 2. Well, Mickey is the 3rd hitter up with the Expos bat in the 7th, so this could be his last inning of work. Houston leading 4-2. He get in on the hands on fastball, and the count stays 0-2. Good backhanded play by Tim Wallach over to first to retire Kevin Bass. First time he's made an out tonight. He hit it well. It was a good play by Tim Wallach, who continues to play good steady defense at third base for the Expos. My all-star third baseman, Tim Wallach.
He was the pick of the radio announcers in the National League as the all-star third baseman.
That's right. The USA Today newspaper had a poll that polled all National League radio broadcasters, and Tim Wallach was their pick.
There were quite a few discrepancies in the voting from the fans, between the fans and who the announcers picked, and who our picks were too.
And of course, Dick Williams will be managing the club because his Padres won the National League pennant last year, and he'll have some tricky choices to make as far as pitchers are concerned. That's not an easy job because there are so many pitchers that are having fine years, and there always seems to be somebody who's going to be left out. Dawson will make the catch on this Mark Bailey fly ball. 2 out. And he has to also make some picks as far as the non-starters. Of course, the starters are picked by the fans, and the rest of the players are picked by Dick Williams and coaches. So he's going to have some tough picks. One of his picks that he's made, though, as far as coaching is concerned, is Astros manager Bobby Lillis, who played high school baseball with Dick Williams many, many years ago in Pasadena, California. So he's picking Bobby Lillis as one of the all-star coaches. Gone, sends it out to the gap, but Mitch Webster crosses in front of Raines and makes the grab. Mitch Webster taking charge out in center field, and that's the first time the Houston Astros have gone out in order. In the 6th, no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. After 6, Houston 4, Montreal 2. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. Houston Astros, 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors. The Expos, 2 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. 7th inning action. Tommy Hutton and Ken Singleton bringing it to you right here on TSN. Also coming up on TSN, the North America Cup. That'll be taking place on July 6th, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. That's from Greenwood Racetrack in Toronto. Harness racing, 3-year-olds. There'll be a big $500,000 purse. That's also the first of 5 live harness races coming up on TSN this summer. Well, the Chicago Cubs dropped one to the San Francisco Giants. Giants have beaten the Cubs 2 in a row. Vida Blue picking up win number 5. Scott Sanderson with the loss. And I would have to think with 13 hits by the Cubs, Ryan Sandberg might have kept his 16-game hitting streak alive. Don't know for sure. We'll have to check it out. But the Cubs drop it to the Giants. Mike Scott will be facing Mitch Webster, Mike Fitzgerald, and the pitcher spot. Webster 2 for 2. A bunt single in the 2nd inning, a double down the right field line in the 4th. Mitch batting .278. After a big night, Thursday night, 2 home runs here in the Dome. One of those home runs coming right-handed. Has a good swing at that pitch. Just got under it. Fly ball for the right fielder, Jerry Mumford.
The young man's going to help the Expos a lot. He's going to be a fine acquisition.
Oh, it was great in the conversation you had with him when he said, yeah, this is my favorite park. Fitzgerald takes a pitch up high, ball 1. Mike's 0 for 2, hit the ball hard in the 2nd. Garner tossed him out on a good play and then struck out in the 4th inning. The Expo catcher looking for his first hit. Takes it on the outside corner, strike 1. Pinch hitter Steve Nikosha steps into the on-deck circle. And here comes a 1-1 pitch. Mike tries to bluff a bunt. He was thinking about getting aboard via the bunt. And took it for a strike, 1 and 2.
That split finger pitch, we take a look at Floyd Yeomans down the bullpen getting ready. That split finger pitch of Mike Scott is worth the ride that he made to San Diego from Arizona.
Sure is. Whatever he paid for the ride or in gas money or airfare, it's paid off. Bill Dorn handles that pop fly, and 2 have been up, 2 are retired in the 7th. That'll bring up the pinch hitter, Steve Nikosha.
Kosher hitting 175 coming into tonight's game, and he's been 2 for 11 off the bench in pitch hitting situation.
So the veteran Steve Nikosha getting an opportunity to come off the bench. And with Terry Francona, left-handed hitter, on the bench, 2 are out, nobody on base, so Buck Rogers going with the right-hander against the right-hander, Mike Scott. Steve takes it low, ball 1, 1-0. Just up high, 2-0 with the fastball. Mike Scott traded from the Mets to the Astros for Danny Heap, left-handed hitting outfielder. And that's one of those trades that seem to work well for both clubs. Heap has done a fine job with the Mets. He's filled in during Strawberry's absence this year. Strawberry back now. Mookie Wilson out though now, undergoing arthroscopic surgery to his right shoulder. Ball strike, 3-1 to Nikosha.
When Strawberry came back, they sent Len Dykstra down to the minor leagues. And when Wilson went out for surgery, he was gone for about 2 days. He came right back to the big league.
Ball strike 2, and Dykstra has been up and down 2 or 3 times, and he had a great line. He said when he arrived in Tidewater, AAA affiliate of the Mets, and then found out he was coming back up to the Mets, he said, "I've got my itinerary. I know what flight to go on and everything. I know how to get to New York." And that is true when you, as we look at the Astros bullpen, Mathis, the right-hander, warming up. It is true when you get the call to the big leagues, you get there a little bit faster than when you go down. Popped up, Dorn moves back. He's got it. And all of a sudden, Mike Scott, after the Expos hit him well through 4, has retired the Expos the next 3 innings without a base hit. So Mike Scott settling down. In the 7th, the Expos go out in order after 6.5. The Astros 4 and the Expos 2. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. This day in baseball, July 5th, 1947, Larry Doby, first black player to play in the American League. And Larry Doby and yourself go back a ways. Former batting coach with the Montreal Expos. When you remember the Expos, Ken?
He's the man who taught me a lot about hitting and taught me a lot about my own personal style of hitting. He told me to rely on both hitting for average. So we take a look at Houston Astrodome. And we're inside of that big bubble right there. Larry Doby told me to rely on average and power. He said not to rely on one over the other. As we take a look at Floyd Yeomans.
Young right-hander who has some gas, warming up. Tell us about it, Kenny.
Floyd Yeomans, born in Tampa, Florida, 21 years old. Makes his home now in Fontana, California. Take a look at his numbers. He is known for a blazing fastball up in the 90s.
Well, his strikeout to innings pitched ratio in Jacksonville, AA ball club of the Expos. He had more strikeouts than innings pitched. And I mentioned the game he pitched against the St. Louis Cardinals. He went 6 2/3 innings, gave up 6 hits, just 2 runs. The Expos went on to win that game 3-2. So the youngster, Floyd Yeomans, on the pitch to Mike Scott.
'84, he also pitched at Lynchburg in A-ball. 39 2/3 innings, he struck out 45.
And he did grow up and spend some high school days in California, but as you said, born in Florida. His first year of high school, he was a teammate of Dwight Gooden. That'd be a tough club to play. You go in as a high school player and have to face Gooden and Yeomans.
How about a tough doubleheader?
And they're good friends. He talked to Gooden before he pitched in the ball game against the Cardinals.
Floyd coming over in that deal. Gary Carter and the 4 young players that the Expos received in the deal.
Hubie Brooks, Herman Winningham, Mike Fitzgerald, and Floyd Yeomans. Call strike, and the count is 3-2 to Mike Scott.
All of them seeing time on the Expo roster this year. I would say anytime you got 4 young players, get them all on your team the same year, that just missed.
And if the youngster does have a problem that he needs to iron out, it would be his control. As he loses Mike Scott, the leadoff man. You hate to walk the leadoff man, especially when it's the pitcher. So again, it's one of those trades that we've talked about a lot of times, with Gary Carter going to the Mets. Expos receiving 4 young players. That it's the kind of trade that you can't really judge for a few years. See how the benefits are reaped by both clubs. Bill Dorn now switching over to the left side for the first time.
This is his strong side. He's hitting .302 left-handed.
Outside, and Yeomans is behind Dorn 2-0.
Manager Buck Rogers might be getting a little impatient. Want to see strikes out of your pitcher. There's a strike.
There's a good one, too. Good fastball. In his only other appearance, that game against the Cardinals, Floyd did walk 5 batters in the 6 2/3 innings that he worked. A little low, 3-1 to Dorn.
Dorn was the league's leading hitter in Montreal for a visiting player last year. Hit .444 in Montreal.
Had 5 hits against the Expos in a game.
That'll help it.
Outside, and Floyd Yeomans has come in and walked the first 2 hitters that he's faced. Mike Scott and then Bill Dorn.
Larry Bernard quickly out to the mound to try and settle down a youngster. Going to see some more action in the Expo bullpen. They're stirring around a little bit. Randy St. Clair heading down the left field line. Loosen up.
Well, Randy was up earlier in the ball game, so he'll get it heated quickly. It won't take him too long. As third base coach Matt Galante gives some instructions to Enos Cabell.
Matt Galante, a former All-American second baseman at St. John's University. You think of St. John's in New York and Queens, New York as a basketball school.
Well, Enos Cabell up there, nobody out, runners at first and second. What do you think Galante told him?
He said, get this ball down. Move the runners over. Make sure he throws you a strike.
Okay, that's it. Ball 1. So the young right-hander struggling with his control right now. Floyd Yeomans. Mike Scott on at second base. And Dorn over at first.
Floyd mentioned to him before the game, with Bill Gullickson scheduled to come off the disabled list on Monday, this might be his last opportunity to pitch for the Expos. For a little while at least.
Well, I think he has a good attitude about it. He realizes that he does need some things to work on. Bill Gullickson, as you said, is scheduled to come off the disabled list and pitch against the Atlanta Braves on Monday. Bill worked 3 innings in an exhibition game that the Expos played on an off day against their AAA ball club in Indianapolis.
But Floyd did say if he got another chance to pitch, he wanted to make the Expos think about sending him down. Bell swinging away. The bunt was not on. He fouls it back, and now he's got 2 strikes. A ball and 2 strikes to count. Runners at first and second. Pitcher Mike Scott down at second. Second baseman Bill Dorn over at first. There's nobody out in the bottom half of the 7th inning.
And 21-year-old Floyd Yeomans working to 35-year-old Enos Cabell. Here it comes. Just missing inside with a good fastball.
He does throw hard.
Yes, he does.
It's just a matter of harnessing all that power, being able to throw your fastball to spots. A lot in the way that Dwight Gooden has learned to do.
That's the thing that Gooden has mastered so well. Grounder could be 2. Hubie Brooks over to first, and the Expos turn a double play, a big one. Yeomans breathes a sigh of relief, and Scott moves over to third, but 2 are out. Well, the Expos turning their 76th double play of the year. That puts them second in the National League, and the combination of Law and Brooks continue to work well together. Big play. Well, we've got the clock on Floyd, and he's throwing it in the mid-90s. That double play ball was timed at 95 miles an hour.
See the radar gun just over Joe West's left shoulder, and that's where we're getting our readings from. 95. You'll get a ticket if you drive like that.
And the batter's Phil Garner. But a big double play ball to get the young guy out of some trouble so far. But he still has Garner to contend with. Foul back. 1-1. Scrap iron. That's what they call Garner.
Well, with that mustache that he used to have, that big flowing mustache, they used to call him Yosemite Sam. He used to look like him too. Cartoon character. Anyway, it looks he's a tough out at the plate.
And he's battling some fastballs. 1-2 to Garner. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. Houston 4, Montreal 2.
Saw Mike Fitzgerald try to steer that pitch back into the strike zone. When he caught it, he kind of snatched it a little, and it didn't fool Joe West. Try and cradle the ball back into the strike zone on those close pitches. Maybe you get that call.
Well, you figure during the course of a year, good experienced catcher. And Fitzgerald has experience. Bring a few strikes into the strike zone and help the pitcher out. Count stays 2-2 to Garner. Of course, when you're a hitter and you take that pitch and it's a few inches outside and you think it's a ball and you look back and you see the catcher holding it over the plate, it's a little frustrating. Good heater, swing and a miss, strikeout for Yeomans, his first. That's all for Garner. That's it for the Astros in the 7th inning. A couple of men aboard with leadoff walks, but Boyd Yeomans shut him down. In the 7th, no runs, no hits, no errors, 1 runner left. After 7, the Astros 4 and the Expos 2. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. And now let's go to TSN Control for this sports break with Michael Landsberg.
We're going to have some time here.
Yeah.
Well, he was on base.
.470 for Houston, 260 for the Expos. Expos with 2 more chances off Mike Scott. Tommy Hutton and Ken Singleton with the action here in Houston. TSN will be bringing you the Cleveland Grand Prix. That's July 7th at 12:30 Eastern Time. That's first in a series of TSN car racing shows. It'll be featured coming up. Some scores: Philadelphia 5-2 over Cincinnati. Philly starting to play a little better baseball. 5th inning, a rain delay. San Diego and Pittsburgh. And the Mets defeating Atlanta 6-1. I wonder how long that one took. At least we know it wasn't 6 hours and 10 minutes. The Dodgers over St. Louis in the 8th inning. over the American League. White Sox by 5 over the Indians. Yankees leading Minnesota in the 7th. And the Orioles have a lead over Kansas City by 3. Texas leading Detroit in the 7th inning. And here we are in the 8th inning. Timmy Raines leading it off. So you mentioned earlier, Ken, that Mike Scott does not have a good track record of completing games, just one complete game this year in 17 starts. And he's into that territory right now.
There's about 5 of 129 starts in the big leagues that he's completed.
He misses outside, and the count to Raines is 3-0. One thing about Scott in this game is that since the 5th inning, he's been working well. He struck out the last 2 hitters in the 4th and has not given up a hit. And just as I say that, Raines lines one up the middle. Should have said that 2 innings ago. Base hit for Raines to lead off the 8th inning. Timmy now 2 for 4. I was going to say the last hit the Expos had off Scott in the 4th inning was a double by Mitch Webster. So the Expos have 7 hits. The Astros have 7. And Houston now with action in their bullpen. Raines going, and there's a throw by Bailey. Not in time. Timmy Raines steals it easily. That's his 23rd stolen base. He's been thrown out just 4 times.
Timmy Raines with a good jump, and by stealing this base, he takes the double play away from Houston, at least the ground ball double play. Now the Expos have another runner in scoring position. Look out.
Good reaction by Vance Law to get himself out of the way of that hard fastball. Now Enos Cabell will talk with Scott.
Scott has already hit 2 batters tonight.
Vance Law getting a little smile out of home plate umpire Joe West. Mark Bailey, the catcher. Raines with 23 stolen bases, still a long way away from Vince Coleman. 55 stolen bases for Coleman so far.
Man's trying to run his way to Rookie of the Year.
Ball 3 to Vance, 3-0. So Mike Scott now all of a sudden struggling.
1 pitch away from putting the tying run on first base.
And the Expos with the heart of the lineup coming up. Here's a 3-0 pitch, faking all the way. That's called strike, 3-1.
That was your basic get it over fastball. Not much on it. Knowing that Vance would be taking right down the heart of the plate.
Let's see what this pitch is. Here it comes. Ball ran outside, and he's walked in. So Vance Law aboard. Raines is on at second base as we get a look at the Astros bullpen. The left-hander on the left of your screen, Jeff Calhoun. The right-hander is Ron Mathis. So this will bring the Astros manager, Bobby Lillis, out to the mound, and he's made the motion to the bullpen. He wants the right-hander, Ron Mathis, to come into the ballgame. So that is all for Mike Scott as he began the 8th inning facing leadoff man Tim Raines. Timmy lined a single up the middle and then promptly stole second base, and he lost Vance Law and walked him, and that was his first walk of the ballgame.
Mathis comes into tonight's ballgame as we take a look at Mike Scott. He gets a fine hand for the job he's done. He leaves a tying run on bases for Ron Mathis as he comes in the ballgame. Mathis is 3-3. 4.67 ERA in 12 games. He's been used as a starter. He started 8 ball games. In 54 innings pitched, he's given up 54 hits.
He's a right-hander, and he'll be facing Dawson, Dreesen, and Brooks. Now, Wednesday, July 24th, between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., will be the annual Expos Players' Wives Blood Donor Clinic at Olympic Stadium. Players' wives who worked very hard on this very worthy cause. Baseball personalities and Yuppie will all be there to greet you, and each donor will receive a pair of tickets in appreciation of their participation. So we invite you to show your generosity by joining the Expos Blood Donor Clinic at Olympic Stadium, July 24th, and that's at 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I participated in that last year, went out, gave a pint, felt pretty good afterwards. Wasn't weak at all.
You didn't faint or anything?
No, no. There you see Ron Mathis's record, and he has his work cut out for him now.
Some of the bigger guns in the Astro bullpen have been struggling. Frank DiPino, Bill Dawley, both of them have been very reliable in the past, but this year they've come up a little short. It's kind of changed the thinking of manager Bob Lillis when he has to go out to the pen.
Exactly, because normally in a situation like this, we might see DiPino or Dawley, and they have been struggling, as you mentioned. And Lillis has gone with Ron Mathis. He delivers to Dawson, and Andre takes a slider for a strike. 0-1. Mathis started a game against the Expos the last time the Expos were in Houston, back in May 14th. Started and went 7 innings, picked up the win, gave up just 4 hits and no runs. So he's familiar to the Expo hitters. Dawson up the middle, Dorn with a good play over to first base. So Bill Dorn right there making a good play on the chopper up the middle by Andre Dawson. And as the Expos turned a double play the previous inning, the Astros turn a big one right here for them.
Tailor-made. Dorn playing through the middle in a double play situation. The ball wasn't hit too hard. Two-hopper right over the head of Mathis. Dorn right on the spot, tags the bag. Good quick throw over the first base and the double play on Andre Dawson.
Yeah, you call it a pitcher's delight, and Mathis got it right there. Dreesen, the hitter, chops the first pitch foul, 0-1.
On that double play, Tim Raines moves over to third base. So they're not quite out of the inning yet.
Mathis has been a spot starter for Houston, and he's come in and done a job. Ron Mathis gets Stan Dreesen to ground to Cabell at first, and entering the ball game with nobody out, runners at first and second. Ron Mathis gets himself out of the inning, helps Mike Scott, and that's it for the Expos in the 8th. No runs, a base hit, no errors, 1 left. After 7.5, Houston 4, Montreal 2. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
It's the same.
Back in Houston, the Astros have a 4-2 lead over the Expos. Tommy Hutton, Ken Singleton. We move to the bottom of the 8th inning. Always a lot of fun at the stadium. Come and see the Chevalier O'Keefe in action at Olympic Stadium. Saturday, July 27th, 6:30 p.m. Prior to the Expos Cincinnati Reds game, the Chevalier O'Keefe will be on the field to entertain you in a friendly softball game against media personalities. So don't miss the July 27th game on Chevalier O'Keefe night at Olympic Stadium. And they're a lot of fun to watch. A great group of guys, and they do a lot of fun things with that softball. Have a lot of fun out at the stadium. Bobby Lillis has been with the Astros organization for a long time. Former member of the Houston Astros.
Second baseman and shortstop. In the early days, maybe when they were called the Houston Colt 45s.
Bobby Lillis replaced Bill Verdon when Verdon was managing the Astros back in 1982. Jose Cruz lining the first pitch foul, 0-1. Cruz has a perfect evening going. Single and an RBI in the first inning, a sacrifice fly and a ribby in the third, and a single in the fifth. Jose tuning it up a notch, fouls it back 0-2. So you know when the other hitters came back to the bench, they told Jose, this guy is getting it up there in a hurry. Right on the outside corner, a good pitch by Yeomans. Cruz back to the bench. Strikeout number 2 for Floyd.
In this particular pitch, Yeomans has excellent control of his fastball. Mike Fitzgerald sitting outside, and you might have seen him nudge that glove over the outside corner a little bit.
That's right, as Mumphrey fouls that off. We talked about the catchers pulling the pitches back in. Here's a good example right there. One and one to Jerry Mumphrey. Mumphrey 0 for 3 to a fielder's choice, and he struck out twice.
Mumphrey now hitting left-handed, hitting .285 from the left side. Came in tonight's game hitting only .233.
There,
right-handed.
Curveball by Yeomans. If he gets that pitch over with consistency with the fastball, he won't be in Indianapolis long, and we're not even sure if he's going down for sure yet. Swung on and missed. And that's all for Mumphrey. Strikeout number 3 for Yeomans.
3 in a row.
Struck out Phil Garner to end the 7th inning. And he's picked on Cruz and Mumphrey here in the 8th. Well, that radar gun clocked that last pitch at 97 miles an hour.
Temperature's going up in here. Some raw heat. Floyd Yeomans. Bass steps to the plate. I mentioned out of his 9 home runs this year, 6 of them have come right-handed. But after hitting those first 2 right-handed tonight, he has an opportunity to hit them from both sides of the plate. Now he steps over to the left side. Ooh.
Strike 1, 2-1 to Kevin Bass.
You can hear that glove popping all the way up here.
A lot of confidence, Floyd Yeomans. Like he took something off that.
"21 years old.
He'll come with heat now. 3-1 pitch. Bass came back with some heat. Line shot to right field. Kevin Bass, a 3 for 4 night with 2 home runs. He's having quite an evening. So that's the first hit off Yeomans. Mickey Mahler worked 6 innings, gave up 7 hits, 4 runs, had 4 strikeouts and a walk.
Bass is a threat to steal as Mark Bailey jumps over to the other side of the plate. Another switch hitter. There's a pitch out. Bass has stolen 8 out of 9 this year.
That's another thing that'll come with experience. On the pitch out, Yeomans really kind of gave it away. And a smart runner. Kevin Bass is a smart runner. If you can pick that up, you're not going to go. You know it's a pitch out. One and one to Bailey. Another fastball, strike 2. 1-2. Bailey 0 for 2 in the ball game. 1-2 pitch. There goes Bass. A pitch out. The throw in the dirt. Kevin Bass steals it. Stolen base number 9 for Bass.
This is a pitch out, but it really isn't a good one. It's kind of low and hard to handle for Mike Fitzgerald. And Bass is off and running. Even so, Fitzgerald gets off a pretty good throw.
Look at that throw. Now, when you're moving as a catcher, that is a tough play. You see where Mike had to throw the ball from down sidearm. He normally doesn't throw that way, only because of where that pitch out was. And he still almost got him. High fly ball, Andre Dawson. He's got it. That's all for the Astros in the 8th inning. They get a base hit. There were no errors, and 1 runner left on base. After 8, the Houston Astros lead the Expos 4-2. We'll go to the 9th inning. One more chance for the Expos. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. Well, we move for the last chance for the Expos. Top of the 9th inning. Expos trail the Astros by 2. And coming up to bat for Montreal, Hubie Brooks, Tim Wallach, and Mitch Webster. So we're looking at some final scores. Giants over the Cubs by 6. Like a football score. Philadelphia beating Cincinnati. They've won two in a row. New York Mets over the Braves, 6-1. And the Dodgers lead the Cards 4-1. That's good news for the Expos. In the American League, Chicago White Sox over the Indians by 5. Minnesota trailing the Yankees in the 9th inning. Baltimore by 3 over Kansas City. And Texas still has a 3-1 edge over Detroit in the 8th inning. And a very partial score out in California. By the way, speaking of California, they had the largest crowd in the major leagues on their 4th of July celebration. The Angels had over 62,000 fans, Anaheim Stadium, on July 4th. Hubie Brooks takes a pitch from Ron Mathis, and it's a ball, 1-0. Hubie looking for his first base hit in the ball game. Swing and a miss, strike 1. 1-1 to Hubie. Hubie flied out in the 2nd inning, grounded out in the 4th, and hit into a double play in the 6th. Hit well off the glove of Dickie Thorne. Hubie hit the ball right on the nose, and Dickie Thorne had trouble coming up with it. That'll be an error to the shortstop. And even though it was hit well, it should have been caught by Thorne. And I think all the problems that Dickie has had after being beaten by Mike Torres, not only has he had problems at the plate, his eyesight coming back, he's had problems in the field with depth perception. Well, a tying run at the plate in the presence of Tim Wallach.
I was just about to say that. 2 great minds in one thought.
That's right. Go ahead, I'll let you say it then so you don't feel bad.
No, that's okay.
Of course, we get a lot of question on those 2 great minds. Our handy crew down in the truck, Brian Schechter and Billy McCoy, think they're the 2 great minds.
Well, they run the show. Foul ball out of play. Mark Bailey coming back.
Count evens to Wallach, now 1-1. Tim hit his 6th home run of the year in the 4th inning, straight away center field. Some happy Astro fans here in Houston. Somebody got a souvenir. See Cabell playing behind Brooks at first. Big curveball, just misses ball 2. 2-1, nobody out. We're in the top of the 9th inning. And the Expos trail Houston by 2. 4-2 is the score. Going away, 3-1.
Astro outfield very deep. They want Wallach hitting anything over their heads for extra bases. If it goes over their heads, they want it to go out of the ballpark.
Good pitch to hit. Wallach has a good rip at it. Sends it deep to right field. Mumphrey near the fence. Tim Wallach. A good pitch to hit. Extended his arms, hit it well to right field. Just got under it a little bit. One down. And again, I think the confidence of Tim hitting those 2 home runs to straightaway center field. Sometimes we may see Tim try to pull that pitch. He went well with it, just got under it.
There's a case of playing in an indoor stadium. You have no breeze to help you. Of course, you don't have a breeze to hinder you at the plate either. But if you have a breeze blowing to right field, ball might carry.
Houston must have trouble in San Francisco. Mitch Webster goes after a high fastball, strike 1.
That might not be as strange as it seems. You know, they're playing most of their games or half of their games indoors, and they go to a stadium, an outdoor stadium, where you have the wind to contend with, and you have a lot of sun, a lot of day games.
High chopper for Enos Cabell. He'll make the easy out at first. On the play, Hubie moves over to second base. Ron Mathis, 1 out away of 9-1 down, picking up a save and helping Mike Scott earn a victory. Well, that score, Dodgers and St. Louis in St. Louis, is now a final, and the Dodgers have defeated the Cardinals 4-1. So, should the Expos not rally, as Terry Francona steps in to pinch hit, Expos will remain a game and a half behind St. Louis. Francona pinch hitting for Mike Fitzgerald.
Terry is 3 for 18 off of the bench. Pinch hitting is not an easy job. A few times I had to do it in my career. Let's see where you could not make a decent living. I couldn't, at least, doing it.
It's not easy. I did a lot. And you got to be aggressive. Terry is, and pops this pitch down the line. Over for it is Garner, and he makes a great over-the-shoulder catch down into the bullpen. A tough play. Had that mound to go over in the bullpen, and Bill Garner makes an over-the-shoulder catch to retire pinch hitter Terry Francona. And that's all for the Expos in the 9th inning. No runs, no hits. There was 1 Astro error and 1 runner left. So that's the final score here in Houston. The Astros defeat the Expos 4-2. 4 runs, 8 hits, 1 error for Houston. 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Expos. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. Well, it's a final in the Astrodome in Houston. The Astros have defeated the Montreal Expos 4-2. 4 runs, 8 hits, 1 error for Houston. 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Expos. The winning pitcher, Mike Scott. His record is now 7-4. The loser is Mickey Mahler. His record goes to 1-3. Ron Mathis picked up his first save of his career on in relief of Mike Scott. Big hitter of the day for the Houston Astros, Kevin Bass, switch hitter, had 3 base hits, 2 of those home runs coming off Mickey Mahler, hitting those from the right side. So Kevin Bass doing most of the offensive damage for the Houston Astros as they have defeated the Expos 4-2 here in Houston. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
Expos Baseball on TSN, brought to you by Carling O'Keefe Sports, bringing the sports world home to you. And by Petro-Canada, dealers and agents across Canada, putting Canada first.
The Expos on TSN is a production of the Sports Network and is protected by copyright. Any use of this broadcast without permission is prohibited. Our Carling O'Keefe Sports Game Stars for the Expos with a couple of hits and some fine plays in left field, Timmy Raines. And for the Astros, 3 hits, 2 of those home runs, Kevin Bass. The final score once again, Houston 4 and Montreal 2. The winning pitcher, his record now 7-4, right-hander Mike Scott. Our next telecast will be coming right here from the Astrodome Sunday, July 7th, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. The Expos and the Houston Astros. So from indoor baseball in Houston, I'm Tommy Hutton for Ken Singleton saying so long.